Leading off our discussion tonight, Democratic Congressman Adam Smith of Seattle, Washington. He is the top-ranking Democrat on the Armed Services Committee. Congressman Smith, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I just want to give you an opportunity to remark on everything we've seen from Friday through today.
Yeah, it's a really big disappointment and kind of embarrassing. I mean, the worst part, of course, was the summit with Putin. Today, as you noted, was not a disaster. Trump didn't make it worse, but the missed opportunity with Putin to have, as you described, some moral clarity and to hold Putin to account, put some pressure on Putin. Here we are, how many ever months into the Trump presidency, and there's no pressure on Putin, which gives him just an excuse to keep prosecuting this war. Look, he wants all of Ukraine, and he will keep pushing until it is clear that he cannot achieve that goal. And there is so much that President Trump could do to change Putin's mind about that. And he hasn't done it. He hasn't spoken clearly about our desire to provide security guarantees to Ukraine, and he hasn't clearly blamed Putin for the war and told him to stop it and push for a ceasefire. It was great that the European leadership was there today to show a united front and to make it more difficult for Trump to go off the rails, and I think they sort of kept it in there, but you still didn't have the moral clarity you needed to put the pressure on Putin to force him to the table and end this war.
There was one of those hot mic moments that shows us a little bit more of what Donald Trump apparently is thinking. Let's listen to what he told President Macron.
I think he wants to make a deal. I think he wants to make a deal for me. You understand that, as crazy as it sounds?
Just to be clear, you can hear that, Congressman. It's Donald Trump saying to President Macron about Putin, I think he wants to make a deal. I think he wants to make a deal for me. Do you understand that, as crazy as it sounds? So there's Donald Trump personalizing everything, thinking Vladimir Putin, Russian dictator, who was the Russian dictator before Donald Trump came along, has decided that the one person in the world he really wants to do a favor for regarding Ukraine is Donald Trump.
Yeah, the narcissism on display at a very, very troubling time. Look, Putin wants all of Ukraine, and what he wants is he wants to play Donald Trump long enough so that he has the opportunity to take it. And anybody with any common sense whatsoever knows that. I mean, Trump ought to know that, but he doesn't seem to. Putin could be forced to make a deal with Trump. And look, I think it's fine that Trump is talking to Putin. I think getting the U.S. more directly involved and engaged in a conversation with Russia is fine, but it's not fine that that conversation is simply emboldening Vladimir Putin. And the ignorance that was on display in that hot mic moment of Trump's thinking on this, that it's all about him. I mean, that is biblical level narcissism right there, that the conflict between Russia and Ukraine and everything that goes into it, everything goes into the last 3.5 years, the last 100 years for that matter, but it all comes down to Trump. I mean, that is narcissism, but it's also an ignorance that makes it far harder to get to where we need to be on this crucial issue.
So Donald Trump told his supporters during the presidential campaign that he personally would end this war in the first 24 hours after taking the oath of office. We have a new poll showing, a Pew poll showing that 59% are not confident that Donald Trump can handle the war between Ukraine and Russia. 59%. So to get to 59% in this country, that has to include Trump voters who now know not only could he not do it in 24 hours, they don't think he can do it.
Yeah, look, and this is something that goes beyond the issue of Russia and Ukraine. I mean, look at inflation. You know, he was going to fix that. He hasn't paid any attention to it whatsoever. Look, Trump is really good at just making up stuff and somehow getting people to believe him. You know, I'm going to end the war on day one. And then, of course, afterwards, they come up with all kinds of excuses for why, oh, you have to take him seriously, but not literally. No, that's just stupid. And a lot of people, I mean, this is like Trump promising, you know, that he was going to be better on ending the war in Gaza. Absolutely not the case. So we really have to hold him accountable for this on these issues. These are not just sort of empty, stupid promises. These are a cornerstone of how he convinces people to support him and keep supporting him. No, he can't solve the war on day one. No, he can't fix inflation. No, he's not bringing peace to the Middle East. No, Mexico didn't pay for the wall. All right. This is a huge problem to have a president who lies so regularly and blatantly about things that clearly he is not capable of doing. And I hope we begin to hold him accountable for that.
Congressman Adam Smith, thank you very much for starting off our discussions tonight.